What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Nascent Toy Collector, presented by Infinite Collectibles and the Blitzkrieg Pop Podcast. I'm your host, Adam, the Nascent Toy Collector. Now, the one property that really got me into toy collecting is MOTU Origins, Masters of the Universe Origins, and it was actually because of my brother Alex who bought me this awesome Ram Man figure, which I've covered in a previous video, maybe the first one. He got me this, and I was like, we're going through the lockdown and can't do shit because of COVID, and I'm like, I really enjoy this. Ram Man, my favorite. This is one of my few vintage. This is the only vintage Masters of the Universe figure that I own currently, which is kind of crazy because I have looked time and time again, but they're expensive. So what I thought I would do today is share my unboxed, loose Masters of the Universe action figure collection with you. The whole point in all this, right? Well, not really. The point is my enjoyment. So I said Ram Man's my only vintage figure, which is not true because of this guy right here. This is New Adventures He-Man, and this is the first figure that they made. This is the I guess he, if you turn him, he has an action feature. He has this little thing on his back. If you turn him, you supposed to be whacking with his sword. Now, it's far from complete. I don't have the helmet. I don't have the shield. I don't have the power sword. All those things make this like a fucking $40 figure, which, while I should, I have not jumped in that deep yet. I think I paid like $5 for this guy. And New Adventures of He-Man is not a very popular series in the fandom of Masters of the Universe. However, I really found that you can watch it on Peacock. Thank you, Jared. And I found that I really actually enjoyed it. So I had to get this. And this is basically, they made some Masters of the Universe classics. So Masters of the Universe Classics made what's called a Galactic Protector He-Man that is like $165. That's a remake of this action figure, and I said, hell to the no. Like, I can't afford that shit. So I just went with the original one, even though he's without accessories. There's just something cool about it. Maybe it's the David Bowie mullet. It's totally rocking a Bowie mullet. I don't know. There's something about that. I like this. I just like the tone. I like the action figure. And these two guys are the only two I currently have of anything vintage, which is kind of crazy with as much as I've been purchasing as of late. I have to say, the problem with being a toy collector is figuring out what you're going to collect. And basically, for the most part, I've been collecting a little bit of Masterverse and a lot of Origins. Masters of the Universe Origins. This line that you're pretty much everything else that I have here is all Origins because that's what I've been buying. Now, these are basically, so this is everything I have loose at the moment, and basically the reason why these are loose, with the exception of He-Man, these two He-Man, is because when they came in I bought them from Amazon. Amazon so poorly packaged them that their cards were so fucked up that I had to open them. And that's basically what you see here. Now, first here to my left is Zodak, who is just an amazing action figure. He looks so cool. I have him posed here like he's performing Hamlet or something. And he is, I guess after going back, because another thing I've done is get into the cartoon. I've been watching the Masters of the Universe cartoon from the 80s, and Zodak, while he's not a prominent character, he is a character nonetheless, and I guess what he represents is cosmic neutrality, in that he's supposed to not get involved in the squabbles of He-Man and Skeletor, at least not in the comics, which I've also been reading, the Masters of the Universe mini comics, the comics that came with the action figures, and also I bought the omnibus of all the DC stuff. Oh my god, everyone's just going to fall over, because, it's hard to do this. Hard to keep everything sitting up. Anyway, Zodak is supposed to represent cosmic neutrality, and I just think that's such an awesome concept that the universe doesn't give a shit, because, let's be honest, the universe doesn't give a shit. And Zodak just kind of is a physical representation. He won't even hold his gun at the moment of that. Now, this is the PAL figure I found out. This is the imported from Europe. And I know this because when the card did come in, and I bought one of these for Jared. When the action figures came in, their cards didn't say new for 2021 or 2020, whichever one it was. I think it's 2021. And it's pretty obvious that they're the European version. However, this is a badass figure. And I'm not totally upset that I had to open it because check him out. He's awesome. To the left of him, I have He-Man. And I really can't speak about this He-Man without having this one. So what happened here, this is the He-Man that I originally opened because I have him posed in my bedroom. And you can see there in this picture that I have him posed with some Ninja Turtles, which is, you know, that's what I have. I wake up every day, I look at these guys. I have the villains on the other side of the room, which we'll get to in a minute. So anyway, this He-Man, before they released last year, 2021, they actually released a vintage sculpt He-Man. And basically what I have here is I have the He-Man that I bought in 20. I have several of them. This one I opened just to have on display. And I have the Battle Armor He-Man, or the one that takes damage, which was one of my favorite figures. Takes battle damage. This is one of my favorite figures when I was a kid. And it came with an extra head. It came with a vintage head. So what I did was swap heads. I took the vintage head out of the package, which is basically why I bought this guy. I already have one that I kept packaged, but I bought this one. I actually won it on eBay for like $2. And I bought it specifically for its head that I ended up putting on this guy. So I could give my He-Man that I have on display a more classic look, a more vintage look. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted. So this one's awesome. He can look up because he has the square peg neck. He can look up at the sword, and I had to have it. I thought it was too cool to pass up. And this one I have on display. This one, Battle Damage, Battle Armor He-Man, however they word it, has the new head on it because I put the retro head on that guy. This was one of the first action figures that I can really remember owning and playing with. So this one's near and dear to my heart. I don't care that it, I mean, I've got him kind of posed like, you know, I've got him posed like, come at me, bro. You know, I've got a fucking axe, bro. That's kind of how I see this He-Man talking, which is goofy. I know, but hey, it's awesome. Totally in love with it. Now, there's the other head. So this is the head that I popped off of this He-Man because, I mean, I love the vintage head. I wanted the vintage action figure complete without paying the vintage action figure price. Holy shit. Shocking to me that if you want this He-Man vintage with his vest and, you know, a sword, because I think he came with an axe actually at that time, in half of the power sword, which is what I've got going on here. Actually, you can see the other half is Skeletor's half. That thing would set you back $60, $70, and I'm just not willing to take that plunge yet. This guy's like $9, and you can find him on clearance in most Walmarts. So, yeah, that's where I'm going with it. Anyway, there's the extra head, and I do think it's cool that you can swap heads on these, if that's what you wanted to do. Pretty awesome. Gives you a lot of customizable features and things you can do with them. Now, Orko is another one that when he came in, I mean, I had to have him because I'm a fan of the Filmation series. I'm actually a fan so far of all the animated series. But Orko, so when he came in, his box was so badly damaged that I had to open him, which is okay because I wanted to. Damn it, Zodak. Cosmic neutrality be damned. Stand up, buddy. Come on, bud. Stand up. Anyway, back to Orko. Had to have him. I mean, if you watch anything Masters of the Universe, Orko is front and center, as he should be. You know, as the comedic relief, you could call him a boner. You can say he's an idiot. You could say that he doesn't belong, but he's an important and integral part of the puzzle that is Masters of the Universe. He's an essential piece. He is the comedic relief, but he's also a voice and perspective of innocence. You know, he's he doesn't even know he's fucking up most of the time. He's just that kind of character. And I just really enjoy him. I find a lot of his hijinks to be funny. And I feel like as an adult, I should find him annoying, like a Jar Jar Binks. But I just don't. Something about him. Maybe it's because he looks awesome. You can ask Munch about that one day. Munch actually has an Orko in his collection of stuff, which is crazy because Munch doesn't like Masters of the Universe. But everyone, I think, can agree Orko's the shit. I don't... So this figure in particular, this is the Origins figure, I think from 2020. Maybe 2021. I don't know. I get the waves confused because I don't think we got them correctly in the United States. But I like this figure, but he has too big of a footprint. This, whatever this is, this like fart puff purple thing, is just too large. Now, I want to be able to set him up next to my He-Man on my shelf, which there's pictures of. But this fart puff is just too big. It looks like he's like poof farting. I don't know, to fit anywhere where I want to put him. I do like that he has this arm that and it's kind of like clear, so you can move him around and pose him in different ways. And I do think that's really cool. I wish there was more of that. Period. Kind of looks like a doozer construction. Anyway, but if this wasn't so big, but it doesn't have quite the footprint, I could manage to fit him in smaller places. That's the only thing I would change about this action figure. I really dig it. It's a really nice look. The hat, the colors, everything's vibrant. Everything about Origins is vibrant, which is something I really enjoy about it. Now, these last two are just, and I may have talked about this previously, I don't remember, but Beastman, when I got Beastman, who is one of my absolute favorites because of the sheer amount of shit that Skeletor talks to Beastman and Merman for that matter. I have to have it. I mean, not just comedic value. I love Beastman, and this is classic. I mean, this is amazingly sculpted. His feet are a little wonky, but again, this is another figure that I ordered from Amazon that when it came in, the card was just fucking destroyed. I mean, mashed, mangled, didn't fit in the box that they shipped it in. Just destroyed. Just way too small a box. And the card was bent over and broken and basically open. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and open him. I'm going to pose him with my villains. I mean, not the turtles, obviously, but he's posed with Skeletor and with Merman there. And this figure is just awesome. This totally captures Beastman, except for maybe his stature. You know, Beastman's kind of hunched over and stuff. But this pretty much captures Beastman 110%. Even this weird bugle-shaped whip that he's got here, just a strange accessory. And I think that dates back to the Big Jim series. Spectre Creative has plenty of videos on the creation of all these guys and like on their origins and how the toys were made and all that stuff. Anyway, Beastman had to have him because Skeletor talks just so much shit. And the same goes for Merman. Now, this is the LOP, or Lords of Power version of the Origins Merman. I do have the other one as well that's based on the original figure that's like pretty much Stinkor 2. But this one, this head is why I wanted this action figure. And also the armor, maybe not this belt thing that he's got going on with these little strings hanging off of it. But this head is basically the Masters of the Universe Classics head that kind of makes it look more Filmation. I really enjoy the Filmation head. Now, he's not colored like Filmation, obviously. He's more green than the bluish of Filmation. But this is about the closest you're going to get to a Filmation without buying the, I believe Super 7 actually made a Filmation-based series, and I haven't bought those. I probably should, and I may end up buying them before this is all said and done. But so the Lords of Power, which is what this is the LOP, Lords of Power Merman, was what they called the brand Masters of the Universe before Masters of the Universe. It was the working title. When it was a concept and they were creating it, Lords of Power was the name. And an executive at Mattel at the time in the early 80s felt that was too religious sounding, so they changed it to Masters of the Universe. And this is the original, or this is based on the original concept design and mini comic design for Merman. Although it's off. It's not perfect. They've actually, I don't think any Merman figure's ever been perfect, except maybe the 2000X Mike Young Merman. It looks just like the Merman from that series, and maybe the upcoming Masterverse from the Revelation toy line. That Merman looks pretty spot on for the Kevin Conroy Merman that we saw in that. But anyway, Merman, Beastman. Merman may be my favorite character in all of Masters of the Universe, so had to have him. And guys, same situation. His box was badly. I actually have it here. When Merman's box, everyone's falling over. So when Merman showed up at my house, and of course here's the instructions and here's the little mini comic that they come with. The card was bent like that, and it has a just very harsh. It was bent all the way over in the box, and detached from the back. So even though I wasn't gonna open him, I'm glad I did, because that's one thing that I always struggle with is like, who am I gonna open? How, you know, I'm bad about it. I want them out. I want to be able to play with them and move them and pose them and look at them. And then I also think, you know, hey, some of these are kind of expensive. I should keep them in the packages. And that's my biggest struggle. It's really hard for me to decide what I want to do with them. But most of these, like I said, were decided for me. Here they are. These are my loose ones. These are the ones I display. Very proud of them. And you know, as more come out, I know I've already pre-ordered like Anti-Attorney He-Man. I need a Tila. I need a Man-at-Arms that I can open up and have loose. So, you know, there's lots of stuff I'm still looking at to have loose. And as I collect them, I will absolutely show them to you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, the thumbs up, because that keeps my videos coming up in people's feeds. And if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, then hit the thumbs down. I mean, totally legit. That's totally up to you. My brother and I, we own Infinite Collectibles. It's a store here in Paducah, Kentucky, where we sell comic books, video games, and action figures. We're really starting to get into the action figures, especially the Origins. So if there's any Masters of the Universe Origins figures that you're looking for, let us know. We'll be more than happy to hook you up. Check us out on Facebook, Infinite Collectibles. You can follow our show. You can follow the Blitzkrieg Pop podcast. That's a facebook.com/that'sabutt. And thanks for tuning in. Keep coming back for more. Peace out.